Ladies and gentlemen, it is finally time to upgrade the Surron. Man, oh man, I've been waiting so long for this very moment. So y'all know what that means? That means we got damn near everything brand new. From the handlebars, the grips, new headlight, new seat, new brake pads, new brake rotors, wheels, primary drive, of course the motor, battery, and controller. And every small intricate thing you can even think of that you would add to this goddamn bike, I got it. So like I said, with a lot of these builds, I don't want to bore y'all too much with all this unboxing stuff. I was going to do that, but I'm like, nah. But one thing I do want to do is get the bike nice and clean before I start slapping all these beautiful new upgrades on. And as you can tell, the bike's looking nice and clean. And yes, I know the bike could look even cleaner, especially if it has some charged PEV, but me not having much money and this being a budget build, which still left me with just a couple of cents left, I didn't have enough money for charged PEV. But now that the bike is clean, I'm not going to rush too fast outside just yet, because for the very tall battery, I'm going to need some battery extensions, which instead of paying $70 for a 3D printed item that only cost me about $4 to do myself for the 3D printer, I'm going to go back upstairs real quick and start 3D printing my own extensions and battery tray, borrowing my little sister's 3D printer thanks to her. But as this prints, and it took me quite some time to get this thing going because I really had to learn how to use it, we can now head outside and start slapping everything together while that 3D prints, starting off with the wheels. Alright, which one fits? Is it any of these? This is loose. Oh shit. I don't know if anyone else does this. It's probably nothing new, but in case it is, it's a little technique I use to get the axle off of my Surron instead of taking anything and pushing it through here, possibly being too rough on these threads. I spin it, but then I pull it like this so it grips inside and spins the axle with it. As you can see, it's working. There we go. And now our front wheel is off. Alright, it's hot out here. Hopefully this phone doesn't overheat. But we gotta get to this link right here. So because Vegas is a terrible place to be when it's summer, my phone overheated, had to quickly throw it in the freezer so I can start recording again, and I decided to move my bikes out the way, even an old bent up bobber, so I can just work in this cubby space. As you can see, it's so hot. My rubber grips on the handlebars, the old ones, are melting on my hands. Later on, my parents will have to head to the store, so I'll be moving the Surron to the other side of the garage where I'll have complete space. Alright, so they're now going to the store. So I'm gonna go ahead and move the bike over there. Now we got the wheels installed. Let's get these brake pads on so we can continue to the next tedious job. And that's the kickstand. This is why you need a peg support, because these are slightly bent. Kickstand's ready to go. We got the piece sitting. Now this is where things can get a little painful. So because I'm not sure how else to do it, people be doing the penny technique, but I don't be holding cash and pennies and stuff like that, so I ain't got all that. All I got is these hands, these arms, and these little muscles. So, fuck. So now I'm gonna have to pull, and this is a tough spring. This is a thick spring, so I don't think it's gonna be that easy to pull. But as I pull, if I can do that, because this thing is sliding like ice, once I get it in there, I'm going to need to slide the bolt in. So it's very, very painful task, but it may be possible. Maybe. All right, it's on. That took every last bit of my power to get that shit on. The next tedious thing, and that is the battery tray. And speaking of the 3D printed pieces, they are now done. Took about 2 days to get them done. Since I had to learn the 3D printer, again, there's a few failures. But after fixing the failures, the battery lid extension, which I started with, took 16 hours, and the battery tray took about 10. But I'm very happy with the way they came out. They look perfect. They came out nice and smooth. They feel like pretty decent quality, and they should work just fine. Now with these 3D printed pieces, their holes were slightly smaller, so I did just have to do some very simple drilling in through the holes, making them bigger, or mainly for the battery tray, the piece where the 12 volt DC to DC converter goes onto. I had to thread the small holes at the bottom since they didn't have threads already, which I'd be surprised if the 3D printer can make its own threads. But now that these are done, let's start installing the battery tray. All right, battery's getting low and the record time is getting lower. But what I'm about to do here is a tedious task. It shouldn't be too tedious. At least that's what I thought. This old dusty piece of shit. We're still pretty much doing cosmetics, right? Well, in that case, let's get these handlebars off, these basically handlebars. And most of all, this might as well not have a headlight because you really can't see at night with it. Stock headlight, let's get rid of that. And last but not least, the thing I can't wait to get off is these nasty grips. The sun having this bike in the yard for a short moment. Focus, asshole. It really chewed these bars up, and now there's just a nasty, sticky feeling. And they leave print on the hands. It's nasty. All right, these getting thrown right the fuck away. This throttle's going nowhere. This was my first upgrade. Headlight plugs into the switch, and then the switch plugs into where the headlight originally was, and that's how you get it to work with the switch, so you can actually turn your headlight on and off. Alright, ladies and gents, as usual, can never escape it. There's always a goddamn problem. Starting off with the first one, build frustrations. Me taking off this controller right here. It was a simple, easy job into this one bolt. Whoever gave me this bike decided to over-tighten this one specific bolt. It started tripping, couldn't get it out. Later on, I found out that I can get the bracket that the controller is screwed into off from the other side. The only problem is, as I now finally can get the controller out, I still do need that bracket. So I can either make my own, or I can find a way to take this one off. So I bought a screw extractor kit, but not even that was working. But it seems like the plate or the bolt was stuck on so tight but the screw extractor couldn't get it off, so I had a different solution.
As usual, I figured it out, y'all. So, kept messing with this. I thought it wasn't working. I'm like, nah, it's gotta be something. I'm like, this is probably so stiff, this can't get that out. And it's meant to get stripped bolts out, not what almost is damn near seems like a seized bolt out. So I thought, you know what if I use my vice clamps to move this back and forth? So I moved it up and down the little bit I could, pretty much doing that. Just forcing it until it has a little bit of looseness. It had a little bit of looseness. I was watching the screw move with the bracket. So I used the extractor again, the same piece with the threads that I thought were going loose, and look at that, it pulled it out. Probably made it easier too because I started using the biggest bits. Again, this one I got stuck, and this one. So that's why you see the edge is a little open. My camera doesn't want to focus it. There we go. But it's out. I happen to have some M6s that should be able to replace those, but not only that, they should be a lot stronger, and I'm not gonna over tighten them. They're flaying, so I don't need to go too crazy on tightening them up anyways. But one more thing I can't forget, and that's to go back to the cosmetic stuff. That's getting rid of these kind of ugly stickers. I don't like them. Had to turn the bike around, do all the sunlight, but it's already looking cleaner. It's wire time. And there we are. We're all soldered, crimped, and heat shrinked up. Not gonna lie, I did forget to record that part. All right, I'm back out here. Let's hook up this wiring harness so I can start slowly hooking up everything else to the controller. DC converter. Controller is all hooked up. It's time to get rid of this dusty ass motor. So annoyingly, due to the fact that apparently I didn't realize or know this, the axle threading and bolt right here is much bigger than the stock. Therefore, a nice looking little guard here, it's not gonna fit. The stock one goes with the hole. If you drill this hole bigger, I'd pretty much be tearing this thing up. And look at that, got it to work. I'm gonna be honest though, it is being held on with just this one bolt. It's got some Loctite on it. Make sure it doesn't just shake out. So I'm gonna use this to hand tighten it as much as I can so it really doesn't want to fall out. time for just about the hinges. The hinges, they shouldn't be too difficult. Well, I say that, but they shouldn't be too difficult. They may not take too long. For the front of the battery cover hinges, all I need to do is just make some really long little tabs, I guess, or sticks that are going to weld to each other, since the way I have to put them on and the way I'm gonna do them. That's when I'm gonna need to make an extension to the latch. All I'm really gonna do is have a long extended metal piece that will bend outwards, aka flat down right at the hinge locking point. And it is done. Now I know it looks a little ridiculous, okay? Now with this, I was looking for something like the Tri-Battery Gladiator Max, the 72 volt, or the Touring. Problem is, my battery ended up being quite a bit taller. Well, I guess not too much, only by about an inch. But I guess it depends on certain people and their preference, because that extra inch might be a little too much. At least that's what she said. Okay, anyways, this is pretty much done. All it needs is a simple cleaning up these little spot welds, these little dots, and a nice little paint job. Nothing too ridiculous. Because it's small pieces, I'll probably give it a nice full paint job so it doesn't get scratched too easily. But I'll be doing that in the background. As of right now, let's get back to finalizing this bike with one big piece and a few small pieces. That one little thing is just a simple task that I need to do so I can test one more time to get this working. And that's chopping off these two last cables so I can solder on these two last cables. All right, finally found a position that I liked. Just real quick, didn't realize I didn't tighten my grips. But now that we know everything's nice and tight, let's finally loop the cable the way it needs to be routed and plug this thing in. And there we go, ladies and gents. We now have a working horn. Fuck, that hurt. Look how bright this headlight is. That is amazing. Ain't no way I can't see at night now. Now that I've gotten every electrical component installed, at least I don't think I'm missing anything. It's now time to tidy up these wires so I can install the very, very nice looking key cover. Now, last but not least, I was supposed to install this when I got this bike, and that's the number plate. But never got around to it, and then I kind of just forgot about it. So I want to install it now, but of course, we got the customizations. Even if I had it stock, the orange sticker, it has to go. Not quite leave it a regular black number plate like everybody else does. I want to throw a little something on it, but y'all see in a minute. Bam, there it goes, looking clean. So now it's time to get into the final pieces to this build. Starting off with the semi-final. Well, you may remember this piece right here. A part of the 3D printed pieces that I had made, this one I didn't really quite talk about. Well, I'm gonna show you what it does.
Typically, I always like to have my phone and a speaker for navigation and music, but with the Surron, it's hard to keep the handlebars looking clean. Even with those two extra things on it, it makes it look really messy. Having this little 3D printed piece right here, it goes straight into your phone holder. If I'm correct, the ball joint is universal with all these phone holders. Once you go ahead and clip that into your phone holder, all you gotta do is clip in the actual 3D printed piece itself right into your battery cover. Now, of course, this will only work if your aftermarket Surron battery is a little bit shorter than where the screen display used to be for the stock Surron battery. If it's touching right on that, this will not fit. But in my case, my battery cover is a little bit over my battery, so this will fit just fine.
Now, finally, for the grand finale. Yes. Yes. Oh yeah. It's about time I started getting my name out here. I literally got so much of these left. I'm even gonna throw some on the bobber.
Now this is the part where I start showing cinematics because the bike is done. It's time to see the final product. The problem is, came across a problem, another, not surprising as usual, expensive problem, a little too late. What is that? The battery. I tried to fix it and I did a small fix, but apparently it needs a little bit more fixing. And I just wasn't quite able to do that in time, so the bike is not looking as neat as it should due to the battery, let's just say, being a little unwrapped. So this is the best we got right now. Hopefully I'll be able to figure this issue out by the next video, which I want to be the battery build itself for this bike. And if I figured it out by that point, then I'll talk about it. But if not, then I'll just let y'all know what's going on in that build. So sadly, no proper cinematics right now. Right now I say, because I will figure this out. But one more time, we're at the end of the video, we're at the end of the build. If y'all enjoyed this, make sure you hit like, comment, and subscribe. I'm gonna say it one more time, like, comment, and hit that subscribe button to become electric with the rest of the people, get electrified with the rest of the people. It has been, and stay tuned for more, because the battery build is coming real soon, and after that, should be the review. Now me, I'm out. Peace.